I hadn't seen Mary and Dan Mailer for pretty near 3 years. Not since they left the Panhandle. So I figured as long as I was riding through the Platte River country, I might as well swing out of my way a piece and take a look in on them. I was watching out for a good spot to bed down when I saw this campfire up ahead. Evening. You rather camp private?
Climb down. Pour yourself a cup of java.
Oh, much obliged. Must be about 15 miles to Walnut Creek, huh?
That where you're going?
I got a job down Waco way, but I thought I'd swing by and see some friends of mine. Haven't seen them for a long, long time.
I know a fellow lives out that way. I ain't seen him for a long time, neither. Now that I've found him, I reckon to kill him.
How come?
Down south in Laredo, he got me put away in jail for 6 years. Killed my kid brother.
Laredo, huh?
Name is Dan Mailer. Ponset. Sure, I know you. I know your reputation. They call you a six-shooter, don't they?
And you must also know I'm a friend of Dan Mailer's.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Lawson. Red Lawson.
How come you're telling me this?
I figure you're going to warn him. And that's fine by me. I want him to know. I want him to sweat a little. Maybe get a little scared. Maybe try to run away. But I'll catch him. You tell him that, Ponce.
I'll tell him.
Nothing he can do about it. You neither.
Thanks for the coffee. Dan Mailer's not gonna run.
That's just fine. Ever since I got out of prison, I've been doing a lot of practice on my draw. I'm fast, Ponce. Not fast as you.
Look what just rode into town.
Yeah. Think he might like to play our game?
We could ask.
How'd it get?
Why, Britt! You old son of a gun. How's that horse of yours scar been?
Oh, just fine. Told me that last pair of shoes you fitted him for were the most comfortable he ever had. Morning.
We got a little game we like to play with strangers that come into town.
Oh?
Yeah. You see, you and me drawing each other. And the man that draws the fastest gets to shoot a cartridge off the other man's head at 50 paces.
Well, that sounds a mite dangerous.
Oh, you mean you don't want to play?
I'm afraid I haven't got time for that sort of thing.
Al, he says he hasn't got time for that sort of thing.
Funny, mister. You don't look like a man in no hurry to me.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, now that you put it that way, I guess I'm not in such a hurry. How far apart you think we ought to stand?
Well, that don't matter much.
Well, suppose I stand here and you move back their ways. Better back up a little more. The sun's kind of in my eyes. I figure one more step should do it. I'll be seeing you, Gib.
You fool kids. You know who that was you tried to get smart alecky with? Britt Ponsett.
Yeah? Yeah, well, I don't care who he is. Ain't nobody gonna make a fool out of me and get away with it.
Hi, Mary.
Well, I just can't believe it. Well, you look just the same. Dan, come see who's here.
Britt Ponsett, you old son of a gun.
Hi there, Dan.
Where you been the past 3 years?
Oh, you know how it is, here and there, working around. You are looking fine, both of you.
Feeling good, too, Britt.
Oh, it's settling down that does it.
Yeah. She took a good town marshal and turned him into a poor stump rancher. What do you think of that?
Now, that's not so, Dan. We have the best stand of corn west of Omaha. The most wonderful thing, though, is peace.
Peace. Well, I wouldn't know much about that.
I almost forgot. Have we got a surprise for you?
I'm pretty hard to surprise.
Now, don't you tell him, Dan. I want him to see for himself.
Well, come on inside, Britt, and brace yourself.
Well, where's the surprise?
Just be patient.
See? See what's happened to us?
It's a baby. Well, what kind is it, Mary?
Well, it's not an it. It's a he. He's going to be 10 months old next Tuesday. Young Britt. Oh. Here, hold him.
Well, I'll be doggone. Oops. You better take him. I might break it.
Oh, now babies don't break that easy.
I'll put your horse out to pasture.
A little rusty around the pin here. Been doing much shooting lately?
Well, I shot a rattler last summer.
Rusty is your gun, huh?
And that's just the way I like him. Rusty and alive.
Been practicing your draw much lately?
Well, what would I want to practice for?
Met a fellow on the trail last night. Name of Red Lawson.
Lawson.
He says you put him in jail and killed his brother.
I remember. They held up the bank in Laredo. But that was 4 years ago. What's he doing in this part of the country?
He says he came here to kill you.
Do you think he meant it?
Yeah, I think he did.
Well, I reckon I better clean this up after dinner. Don't mention this to Mary, will you?
No. What are you going to do?
I'm going to ride into town first thing in the morning.
Now, hold it a minute. What about Mary and the baby?
That's just what I'm thinking about.
Let's eat it while it's hot.
Looks good, Mary.
That's better, babe.
Morning, Britt.
Morning, Dad.
I had to do my chores before I left for town. Where are you going?
Dan, suppose you let me ride to town and talk to Red Lawson.
Britt, get this straight. I've always fought my own battles.
Sure, I know, but give me just today. Maybe there won't be any battles. The least you can do is give it a try.
All right.
His name is Lawson, Red Lawson. I believe he served time down south.
I'd like to help you on this, Ponset. But if I was to lock up every man who threatens someone, half the county'd be behind bars. The only thing I can do is wait until something happens.
I guess you're right. Where do you think I'd find this Lawson?
Well, there's only one hotel, one saloon in town. Bound to be one or the other.
Much obliged. By the way, how come a man sentenced to 6 years is out in 4?
One.
I bet 10.
I raise it.
I talked Dan Mailer out of coming into town after you.
Well, what would he do when he got here? Shoot me in the back?
He's got a wife and baby. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard he had a family. Thought about him, too. 3 for the price of 1 wouldn't be bad odds. Listen, Ponset. I've done nothing. But when I do what I come here to do, I don't care what happens afterwards. See, Dan Mailer can't make a move till I do. And I ain't gonna draw on you. I want Dan. See, I got all the cards. Besides, the whole frontier knows how you feel about killing.
The longer I know you, the more different I feel.
Britt Ponset a friend of yours? It's funny. I don't like him much neither.
Matter, Marty. mighty quiet tonight.
Oh? Well,
I'll take him now.
I'm just learning how to hold him.
There are some things you can't do for him, even if he is your namesake.
Like what, for instance?
It's his supper time.
Well, I could... Oh. Yeah.
Come on, sweetheart.
Have another glass of cider?
Thanks.
Who is it?
Don't worry, Mary.
It's that kid from town. Go outside and see what he wants.
Stop, Dan.
It's all right, honey. He's holstering his gun. I'll cover you from here.
What do you want?
I got a message for you, Mailer. Red'll meet you at dawn on the main street of town. Otherwise, he told me to tell you. 3 for 1.
I don't understand. You were town marshal then. It was your job.
Honey, that doesn't mean anything to a man like Lawson.
Well, then let's go to the sheriff and get some help.
Britt's already seen the sheriff. There's nothing he can do.
Well, then we've got to pack and get out of here.
And get chased all over the West, never knowing when he's going to catch up with us? Nothing doing.
Britt, what can we do?
The baby's crying.
It's no good, Dan.
Well, what should I do? Wait here till he bushwhacks me from out of the woods?
Let's look at it plain. You're not a gun hand anymore.
Look, Britt, I wasn't Marshal of Laredo for 10 years for nothing. And gun hand or no, this is still my fight.
Wonder why Red changed his mind and didn't come out here.
I don't know. And I don't care. As long as it keeps him away from my family.
The baby's all right. It was just the noise that woke him up.
Comes daylight around 5 in the morning. I'll leave for town a couple of hours before that.
Now, Sandy. Now!
You. Suppose we find the town doctor. Have him take a look at those arms.
Hey, just a minute. Doctor'll have to see Lawson in a jail cell. I checked on him. He wasn't released. He broke out, killed a guard while he was at it. Either way, looks like he'll never pull a gun again. All right, Lawson, let's go.
Now, don't stay away so long next time, Brett.
I'll check in every once in a while. Look, Dan, I wish you wouldn't act this way. I'm sorry.
Now, don't you worry about him. He'll get over it.
Well, it wasn't you or Mary I was worried about. It was young Brett here. After all, having a namesake's quite a responsibility.
Well, you didn't have to clout me so hard.
You've never done anything for him that's made me happier.
Well, so long.
Where are you going from here, Brett?
I've got a job down Waco ways.
So long, Brett.
Tip-top ranch for a couple of months. The old man was one of those hard-riding kind, so I was kind of happy at being sent to town. Usually, though, I was a little town shy. Towns generally brought me trouble. I guess that's what's wrong with having a reputation. Always some young gun just itching to sharpen his spurs on your hide.
You ain't as gun shy as you used to be.
You belong back in that jail.
Now, Granny, you know there ain't no jail gonna hold me. And Sheriff Hanson, he ain't gonna ever put me back there again either.
I wouldn't be surprised, but what you're right, Wes. I wouldn't be surprised to see you lying in the dirt with a bullet in you first.
We all gotta go sooner or later. And if my time was as close as yours, I wouldn't be talking about dying either.
Your time may be closer than you think, Wes. Maybe even closer than mine.
Don't talk to me like that. Now, you've got to stop talking to me like that.
Wes! Hey, Wes! Whoa. Wes, you know who that man was you took a shot at?
No, I don't know, and I don't care.
Well, listen, it was Vin Bonner. Well, do you hear me? The six-shooter.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
Well, what if it was?
Well, aren't you glad to hear it? Here's your chance to do all those things you were talking about the other day. Remember?
I remember.
Remember Joe Hayes was talking about Bonner, and you said you could teach him a thing or two about slapping leather? Well, now's your chance to do it, Wes.
You talk too much.
You'll be talking longer than he will.
Well, there you are, Bent. How's this? Tip-top ranch. Property of Rex Jeffers. Keep out. This means you.
Well, that keep out part sounds a little polite. You better change that to trespassers will be shot on sight. Signed, Rex Jeffers.
I guess he means it.
He means it. He's got the biggest ranch in the state, and he wants everybody to know it. I guess he figures putting these every quarter mile or so will do the trick.
No doubt Jeffers will want his name printed in the biggest size type I've got, too.
I think he'd like it to stand out real plain.
Yeah, all right, I'll print them up, all 1,000 of them. But it's going to cost him $6.40.
$6.40?
Yeah, paper's expensive, Vint. Besides, it's going to take me darn near the rest of the day. Well, that's my price, $6.40.
Well, you gotta pay. Finish him up as soon as you can, Pete.
All right, Vint. Well, Vint, you heard what happened to Lockwood, haven't you?
No. What happened to Lockwood?
We got us a brand new gunfighter.
Gunfighter, huh?
Yes. Young and mean. Fast, too. Looks like Wes Singer is out to set some kind of a new record.
Wes Singer. That his name?
Yeah, can't be no more than 19. 20 at the most.
Most of them start young.
They don't live to be very old, either. But they can cause a lot of trouble in a short space of time.
Trouble? What do you mean?
2 killings in less than a month.
2 killings?
Charlie Barker was the first. Folks was inclined to think it was a lucky draw. Until Wes went up against Todd Apple. Wes put a bullet right in the middle of Todd's forehead before Todd's gun ever cleared his pants. After that, folks weren't inclined to think it was just a lucky draw.
Well, with all this shooting and killing, I guess the sheriff is doing a little thinking.
Ben Hanson's thinking all right, but Ben's getting a little bit old.
What's he doing about it?
Oh, he went out to Vess, all right, but there isn't much he could do. Wes had witnesses to the first shooting, and the jury turned him loose after 10 days in jail on the second.
Where is he now?
And the best the sheriff could do is order him to stay out of town. The boy's now up on his grandma's place, a little way east. It's the only kin he's got, this old Miss Singer.
No. How long do you think it'll take to get these ready?
Yeah, take a few hours, sometime in late afternoon.
I'll be back.
All right. Oh, Vince. Of course, if it comes to a showdown between the sheriff and Wes, well, like I said, the sheriff ain't as young as he used to be.
Hello, Sheriff.
Vint, how you been?
Good, just fine.
Oh, doggone. I was just sitting there thinking over a couple of things.
Well, a man's got a right to think once in a while.
Now you know I was asleep, sound as the dead.
Guess it's that time of day.
Heard you's working over at the Tip Top. I wondered when you was coming to town.
Yeah, you know old man Jeffers. He likes to keep things and people jumping.
Doggone, it's good to see you. What brings you to Lockwood?
Jeffers wanted some no trespassing signs printed up, so he sent me in to get them. I understand you got yourself a little problem.
Problem? Who you been talking to?
You know Pete Drum.
Yeah, I know Pete Drum. I suppose he's been running off at the mouth about Wes Singer.
Well, he told me something about him.
How long are you going to be in town?
Just long enough to pick up my posters. Why?
Oh, you know these young blowhards. Boasting to their pals on how they can out-trigger any man in the state. Your name was mentioned. This young Singer said he could even teach you a few tricks.
I see.
I want you to leave town.
Wait a minute, Ben, just because...
You're a mighty tempting target. You're the six-shooter, ain't you? Any gunfighter put a bullet in you, have a real claim to fame.
That doesn't make any sense, Ben. This youngster's got no cause to pick a fight with me. It's stupid.
They're all stupid. Gunslingers. Most of them young kids like this Singer. The idea of getting themselves killed never enters their head. If they're dead, they wouldn't be gunslingers.
Well, I'm not going to be here long. But I'll have to wait for those posters. Can you imagine what would happen if I turned up empty-handed?
I laid down the law to this kid. I can handle him.
Sure you can. Sure you can. I'll get on over to the hotel and get myself cleaned up.
Now, you drop by and see me before you leave.
I'll do that.
Bonner! Come on out, Bonner!
Wes, I told you to keep out of my town.
Stay out of my way, old man. Came in to talk to Mr. Bonner.
Go ahead. Talk.
You're the one they call the six-shooter, huh? Thought I'd come into town and take a look at you. Can't help but say I'm a little bit disappointed.
Wes, I told you.
What are your plans now?
What do you think you're doing?
Same thing as you're doing.
That's a shotgun. What's wrong with your six-shooter? That thing went off.
You got the idea. Even if you got off the first shot, which is just possible, I'd still blow a hole in you big enough to put my arm through. At this distance, I couldn't miss.
You're loco, Bonner. We'd both be dead.
Yeah. Well?
You just can't expect a man to commit suicide.
That's up to you. I'm waiting.
This isn't the way you're supposed to do it. It just isn't fair.
Now you do what I say. Put that gun away. Get on your horse and get out of town.
I'll go. I'm coming back when you ain't got that cannon. Listen to me, everybody. I'm coming back here at 4 o'clock. And if Bonner there just ain't a bunch of hot air, he's gonna have to use his six-shooter. But maybe you'd rather not, Mr. Bonner. Maybe that reputation of yours ain't worth a hill of beans.
I don't know, boy. I never figured out what a hill of beans was worth. You want to see me?
Would you mind sitting down, Mr. Bonner? I'd like to talk to you for a minute or so if you have the time.
Anytime I can't spare a minute to talk to an attractive lady, I'll quit.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. Thank you kindly.
Pleasure.
I wanted to talk to you about my grandson. I think you've already run into him.
Oh. Yes, I've run into him.
Then you know what he aims to do this afternoon. You know why he's coming into town.
I heard what he said.
He means it, Mr. Bonner. He means to kill you.
It wouldn't worry Miss Singer. Sheriff Hanson will be waiting for him. If he starts anything, likely as not, he'll end up in jail.
Jail? There isn't any jail can hold Wes anymore. And Ben Hanson won't be able to arrest him either. He'll shoot him down without batting an eye.
Let me get this straight. I thought it was your grandson you were worried about.
Worried about Wes? No. I'm worried about all the men he's going to kill if somebody doesn't stop him. Men like Charlie Barker and Todd Apple. Ben Hanson, he'll be next. I've known Ben for over 25 years. He's a fine man, and he's made a fine sheriff. And he deserves better than to be murdered by a gun-worshipping whelp without a bone of conscience or feeling in his whole body.
Exactly what is it you want me to do, Miss Singer?
I want you to kill him, Mr. Bonner. I want you to kill Wes. I want you to shoot him down like you'd shoot a mad dog. You're the man they call the six-shooter. You're the only one who'd stand a chance against him. Why, I've watched that boy hour after hour, standing out behind the barn, practicing with those guns of his, until I thought I'd go out of my mind with the horror and the shame of it. He never cared for anything else, nothing but guns, since he was old enough to pull a trigger.
Sheriff Hanson's the law.
Law? What kind of law is it that allowed West to go free after his other killings, that turned him loose to kill again? Maybe if his ma and pa had been here to raise him, maybe that's what the boy needed. Someone to do the things for him that a boy needs done. I tried my best.
I'm sure you did.
He'll be killed. Sooner or later, somebody will kill him. Somebody will have to kill him. That's why I'm asking you to do it now. Today. Before the stain of anybody else's blood is on his hands.
I'm sorry, Miss Singer. I can't do that. I'm not a killing man. It was a little after 3 o'clock. There was a kind of stillness in the air, like on a hot summer day just before a thunderstorm. Just enough heat to keep everybody out of sight behind shutters. Later on, it would come alive, full of people, their noise, their activity, their need for excitement. But that would be later. Now the town was practically empty. Nobody in the stores, nobody on the streets.
You, Wes?
Yeah?
You, really intend to let him go for his gun first?
That's the only way to make him stand up and fight.
He was pretty fast, even with that shotgun.
Anyone can pull a shotgun off of a wall.
He was still pretty fast about it.
He ain't the only one that's fast.
Oh, we know you, Wes. We sure know you. After all, we seen you with Todd Apple and Charlie Barker. Of course, Todd and Charlie.
What about Todd and Charlie?
Well, nothing, Wes, nothing. Well, they were good, but they weren't in the class with a six-shooter. Wouldn't you say so yourself, Wes?
Shut up.
Oh, now, Wes, I know you're not afraid of getting killed, but...
Shut up and get up on your horse.
Yeah, sure, Wes. But you know me, Wes. Like you said, I talk too much.
Got my posters ready?
Yep. I guess you're all set leaving town. I put the print on those posters big enough for Lincoln's assassination. Go to satisfy Rex Jeffers.
$6.40 is still a lot of money. All I wanted to do was to get out of Lockwood and back to the ranch. Then I saw Ben Hansen standing alone in the street.
Get back on your horse, Vin. Singer will be here any minute, and I want you out of the way until I finish with him.
What do you mean, Ben?
I told him if he ever came back to Lockwood, he'd have to answer to me.
You gonna shoot it out with him?
If I have to.
You sure you can handle him, Ben?
Of course I'm sure. No, Vin. I'm not sure at all. He's young. He's awful fast.
That's what Pete said.
But you see, I gotta try. If it turns out I still ain't fast enough, well, I was bound to meet my match someday. Not many sheriffs have lasted as long as I have. 25 years. That's practically a record hereabouts.
Listen, Ben. It's me he's gunning for, not you.
That ain't the point, and you know it. I'm the sheriff here in Lockwood. Now you ride out of town.
It ain't no use, Vent. I just can't step back and let you take him on first. Folks around here'd never pay me any heed afterward. They'd say I talked big to Wes, but it was your gun he listened to. I'm through arguing with you. Now you get on your horse and move on out of town.
All right, Ben. At least I didn't have to kill him. Maybe the boy could learn to live without a gun. Desert loneliness seeps into a man, like the dust itself, hot, cutting. That's when you remember there's a town somewhere up ahead, and suddenly you want to go there. You even begin thinking of a town like Sunset. The man didn't matter, Scar did. I shot wide.
I ain't no horse thief, mister. Honest, I ain't.
Well, not a very good one anyway. Here, let me see that.
No. Well, it's better dying out here on the desert than getting caught. All them rewards and them posters, but they ain't hanging Link Jared. You heard of me, ain't you? Everybody's heard of Link Jared?
Yeah, I heard of you. You're liable to make a very famous corpse. Now, let me look at that.
No. Too bad your shot didn't do it, mister. Must be, 3,000 on my head by now. Not counting yesterday.
It's your time you're wasting.
That stage depot over to Sunset. That man in charge, a real duty stickler. Acted like the company money was his own. He's the one who shot me in the back.
How'd you get way out here without a horse? It's 20 miles to Sunset.
Had a horse. He broke his leg stumbling over a prairie dog hole. You know, it's a rotten shame, mister. Happened to shoot a horse.
You're making me cry, Jared. Come on. Give me your arm.
Where are you taking me?
I'm taking you to Sunset. See the doctor.
Sunset? They got a posse on my trail. They'll lynch me for sure. I swore nobody's ever gonna lynch me.
Nobody's gonna lynch you, Jared.
Your word on that?
My word.
All right. You gotta give me your word on one thing more, mister.
What's that?
You gotta believe, I ain't no horse thief.
Come on.
Vent, the last I heard you were in Laramie.
Good to see you, Doc. Give me a hand, will you?
What have you got there?
A patient.
A patient?
Lucky I ran into you. He stopped a couple of bullets. Maybe you could get him out and patch him up.
Who did it?
I found him this way.
Oh, you know Wes Flagler.
I know Wes.
Eva Grant? The young fella's new since you were here. He snaps Bronx at the Bar V. Evan Case. Man in the back is Mr. Martin.
Just call me Gopher. I'm new most everywhere, because I just keep traveling all the time.
That's far enough, Flagler.
What call you got being so upshot with me?
I think maybe you know.
Know what?
This man's linked Jared. I gave him my word I'd see that he got to a doctor and that he got a fair trial. There's not going to be any necktie party.
It's Link Jarrett, all right. There's no mistaking that face. He's a foul, murdering animal.
What's so funny?
Well, we just come from one lynching, Bonner.
What?
No sense in running the good thing into the ground.
That's right, Vent. We were just on our way back to town.
You mean you weren't looking for Jared?
What'd give you that idea? We was looking for Gene Carley. We found him.
What about Carley?
Well, you remember him, don't you? Robbed Jet Hill's general store a couple of years back. Almost killed the old man.
I know, but...
He broke jail last week, went over to Marshalltown. Showed up in Sunset yesterday. Tried to hold up the stage depot. He killed Sam Foster doing it.
And you strung Carley up for that?
Well, not too high. Just a couple of feet off the ground. We found him hiding in a cabin over by Walnut Creek.
Drop a liquor?
Doc, were you a party to this?
I came along to see that everything was done in a reasoned and decent way.
A reasoned and decent way to lynch a man.
There weren't no doubt about his being guilty. That's what you're driving at, mister.
And seeing as how they ain't got no judge over at Sunset, and we'd have had to wait till fall for a formal hanging, we sort of speed things up a mite.
Well, I don't know what I can do for him. He's not worth saving.
Thought you doctors had some sort of an oath about saving people's lives. Whether they're worth it or not.
Well, if I'm going to do anything for him, you got to build me a fire. I'll need a few other things. I haven't got my bag with me. No substitute for chloroform, but it'll help some. Unbend and rest yourselves, gentlemen. It'll take a little time before he's good and numb. What a crucifying waste of good whiskey. You standing guard, Vint?
I'm not playing judge and jury, Doc.
You mean about Carley?
Yeah, about Carley.
I saved his life once, a long time ago. Because I remembered my doctor's oath. He went on robbing and killing.
That how you excuse yourself?
I studied hard so I could use these hands of mine to help people in need. Good people. Not anything like this, or Carley.
When I heard about Foster, suddenly it all festered up inside of me. And I wanted to see Carly dead, hanging and kicking.
You're on your own, Doc.
I'm waiting for the time you dig one last hole, Gopher. For yourself.
Never can tell where you're gonna strike color. Lord cooks in queer pots his wonders to perform. Gold is where you find it. Any old place.
Muley old button.
When you was talking up this necktie party, you give me to think there was a reward out on this Carly fella. Was you speaking the truth?
That's why you're out doing your civic duty, Mr. Martin? For the reward?
When a hill rat like me gets a feeling he's gonna strike it, he's gotta have a stake fast. Well, I got that feeling about a place up Manitoba way. Only I ain't getting no younger. I gotta get there. I gotta get there.
Can't you play something else? Something don't sound like we was at a funeral.
I happen to like what I'm playing.
You know what's eating him? He was building a stack to a Nestor gal, and she went and throwed him over.
Shut up, you hear?
Throwed him over for a sheep herder. A smelly mutton puncher.
Bah! I told you this.
You wanted to show her what a big man she passed up, going on a lynching. But you couldn't even watch it, could you? Made you sick to your stomach.
You enjoyed it, though, didn't you, Flagler?
Huh? I didn't mind none. I'm gut sick of guys like Carly going around taking what they want, getting away with it. You gotta make an example, or before you know it, nothing will be safe. Man's ranch, his family, nothing.
You must have bought a spread, found a wife, and raised a family real recent.
What's that?
I was just remarking.
Well, I don't like your remarks. I wasn't talking about me in particular.
I see.
Fact is, I don't like your whole snuffy tone. You've been running off at the mouth like a prairie preacher ever since we met up.
Hey, Vint. You got Jarrett's gun?
Why?
I need it.
Beaver.
Keep this barrel in the fire. I've got to go into his back after that bullet. I'll need that to cauterize when I'm through. Who will I send the bill to, Vint?
All right. I robbed a state depot. And I killed a dumb duty stickler. But he had it coming. And I ain't hanging for it. Nobody hangs like Jared. Nobody hangs like...
That true, what he said about killing Sam Foster?
Man doesn't confess to something like that just to hear himself talk.
Then we lynched an innocent man.
Didn't you, Vint?
Yeah, Doc, I knew.
Why didn't you tell us right off?
You'd already lynched one man. If Jared never got back to Sunset alive, nobody'd know about your mistake. I didn't feel it was fair to put you in the way of temptation.
Nobody has to know now. Do they, Doc?
You'll still do your best, won't you?
Well, it couldn't have happened that way. It just couldn't. We was right.
Nobody knows nothing. The Lord cooks in strange pots.
Maybe Jared was making that all up. Everything he told you.
How do you know about the robbery at the depot?
Well, he might have... Well, I don't know. Well, you see what I'm driving at, kid. We can't be wrong.
Can't we?
Look, now we know Carly broke jail. Then somebody said they seen him in Sunset yesterday. Yeah, it was Paul Trimble said it. And then we picked up Carly's trail right at that stage depot, didn't we? And that trail led right to that cabin on Walnut Creek where we found him.
He admit to the robbery and the shooting?
You don't expect a man to admit a thing like that when he knows there's a rope waiting for him, do you? Look, Doc, what...
Lent, you've got to believe I did my best. Only my best wasn't good enough. I will prescribe regimen for the good of my patients, according to my ability and judgment, and never do harm to anyone. I will preserve the purity of my life and my art. I haven't thought of that oath for years. I appreciate your bringing it back to my mind. You must believe me. I tried, Vint.
I believe you, Doc.
Hey, what are we all standing here so long-faced for? Jared's dead. There ain't nobody to say if he killed Sam Foster or not. Nobody.
Nobody except you. Hey, Vint?
That's right. Nobody but me.
Now, wait a minute, Bonner. You're a reasonable man.
I try to be.
Well, maybe we did go off half-cocked. Suppose we did even overstep the mark a little.
That what you call it? Overstepping the mark a little?
All right, we're sorry. But there's nothing we can do about Carly now.
No, not a thing.
Well, we thought we was right. Maybe Carly wasn't guilty, but he was a killer. He deserved what he got.
He wasn't guilty of the murder of Sam Foster.
What difference does that make?
The law should have its say. The law's what keeps us all from turning into animals. You hang one man outside the law, and all the rest of our lives are a little bit cheaper.
I can see you're set on stirring up a hornet's nest, ain't you? Well, you go ahead. You got no proof. It'll be his word against ours. We'll say Carly confessed. Everybody in Sunset will believe us.
But I wouldn't dare bet on that. Vint Bonner's word carries a lot of weight, gentlemen.
Well, you sound like you was turning against us, Doc. Well, I ain't taking no chances of people saying we murdered Carly.
You put that gun away.
Look, I know they don't call you the six-shooter for nothing, Bonner. But there's 5 of us.
Five? You sure?
Yeah, and they're all in the same boat with me. Now, you're going east, and you ain't showing your face in Sunset again.
I'm taking Jared to Sunset, and I'm going to say what happened.
Well, you heard him, boys. We ain't just going to stand there like he's being milked.
Oh, Flagler, let's handle this thing clean.
What do you mean?
Holding that gun proves how wrong we've been. If we were right, you wouldn't feel the need to use it.
You're turning yellow, Doc. That's what's wrong with you.
We're all yellow. Like Doc says. Afraid to own up clean that we're no better than killers ourselves.
Shut your face, kid.
Only I ain't afraid anymore, neither.
Just like Doc.
Me? I only know one thing. Ever since this happened, there's been a stink hanging over me, like the smell of a rotten swamp. It's gonna be kind of hard getting used to myself.
What's the matter with you guys anyway? You letting Bonner stare you down? Now, you're forgetting something. I didn't drag you out after Gene Carley. You come on your own. You was all puffed up like good citizens doing your duty.
We listened to you, Flagler, because all of us had some deep down reason for doing what we did. I know what mine was. Something I've been toting since I was born. I had to strike back some way. At somebody.
You better throw your hand in, Flagler.
If I get out of this, I'll be heading for Manitoba, Mr. Flagler. Wouldn't be surprised if that's where I'll be digging my last hole.
Yellow! Yellow, all of you! I guess you think I'm turning rabbity too, don't you, Doc? You think I'm afraid to use this? I could gun Bonner down and you'd all be in it with me. Now, how'd you like that?
Flagler, you were born to be a failure. That's your deep down trouble. There's no reason to believe you'll be a success with that gun.
I'd feel better going in and facing up to this with you, Doc. You coming?
I'm going to stay here and help Bonner with Jared.
Thanks. I think Flagler will help me.
This is the only kind of help you'll get from me.
I'll meet you in Sunset, Vint.
If it hadn't have been for you, folks would have said we done fine. They'd have looked up to me for once.
That might be true.
They'd have been glad to get rid of Carley. Nobody would have known about Jared. Why'd you have to meet up with him anyway? Why?
Because his pony tangled with a prairie dog hoe. He needed another horse.
Well, that ain't no reason.
No, I guess it isn't. Maybe like Gopher said, the Lord cooks.
Summer days when thirsts and tempers run high that I arrived in the town of Harness Junction. I'd come into Harness for the Circle Oak cattle drive. I had a few days layover, which I thought I'd use to look up the Harcourt brothers, sons of an old friend who had died a few years back.
Looks like I found the youngest one, Lex.
I said stop it!
You all right, Jim? All right, get up. I said get up. Go on home. I said get.
Vint Bonner.
Hi, Cash.
When'd you get in town?
I don't know exactly the round, but I was here in time for the knockout.
That kid.
I don't know what I'm going to do with him. Come on in the office. Rest your legs. Sorry you had to see that, Vince. Sorry still I had to do it.
Seems to me you outweigh Lex a few pounds.
I know. I hate to use my hands on that kid.
Then why do you do it?
Look, Ben, it's not as though I don't have good reason to. That kid's got a chip on his shoulder a mile wide.
To match the one on yours? You were a lot like him at his age.
The old man knocked it out of me. I'm going to have to knock it out of Lex. He's got a temper building inside him like a Texas tornado. You down here for the Circle O drive to Durango?
That's right. I'm a few days early, though. They're still out on the trail.
Well, you're going to stay with us till they come in. Of course, there's been a few changes made.
Oh, did you move from the old house?
No, we still live in the same old house. Me and Bess both.
Bess? Oh, you got a new horse?
No, I didn't get a new horse. I got married.
You got what?
That's right, I got married. Prettiest girl in town, and a good cook.
Congratulations. I never thought you'd make it. Look, I can't barge in.
Anytime you're in town, you're going to stay with us, just like when the old man was alive.
I'll just get a room at the hotel.
Vin, I'm the law around here. You want to stay out of trouble, you do as I say.
I'll go quietly, Sheriff.
That's here. How's my wife, huh?
And how's my husband?
Honey, I want you to meet Vint Bonner. You've heard me talk about him.
Nice to know you, man.
He's going to stay with us a few days till the Circle O drive starts.
It'd be a pleasure.
Come on, Vin, I'll show you to your room.
Cash,
Yeah, Bess.
it's all over town about your brawling with Lex.
Honey, that kid was fighting in the street again. I had to do it.
You could have stopped it. Peacefully, sensibly. You didn't have to humiliate Lex in front of the whole town.
Come on.
I'm in. Oh, hi there, Lex. Come on in.
Hi, Vit.
Where you been keeping yourself, boy?
Oh, just around. Here you're going to Durango with that Circle O outfit.
That's right.
How many men do you think they have?
Oh, 50, maybe 60.
Think they could use an extra hand?
I guess they might.
What's the matter? Don't you think I do?
Now, wait a minute, boy. I didn't say that.
You willing to put in a word for me?
Sure. I'll put in a word for you. Did you ask Cash about this?
Oh, I don't have to ask Cash. I don't have to ask Cash about anything.
He's your older brother.
Oh, sure, he's my brother, but he ain't my father, which he's always trying to be.
No, Lex, he isn't your father.
Then it's just no use. I gotta get out of this house.
What's the matter? You got sister-in-law trouble?
No. It's not Bess, she's swell. It's Cash. He treats me like I was a school kid or something. Vin, you just gotta help me, that's all. Look, would you talk to Cash, please? And, well, he likes you very much. He's always talking about you.
Sure. I'll talk to him.
Thanks, man.
That was a mighty fine meal.
Best never misses. How about it, Cash? Vince said he'd put in a word for me.
Lex, you don't have the foggiest notion of what one of these cattle drives means. You wouldn't last more than a week.
Well, maybe I would and maybe I wouldn't.
You gotta be tough, like Rawhide. You ask Vin, he knows, he'll tell you.
Look, it ain't gonna do no harm to try.
If you're so anxious for a job, there's plenty of things to do in town. Why don't you go down and see Mr. Fleming?
Well, look, I ain't interested in cleaning out somebody's livery stable.
Your trouble is you're not interested in doing anything you're fit for.
Boy, the last couple of years, you sure been hard to take.
Well, you ain't exactly been a picnic either.
Oh, hold it, you knotheads. Look, maybe Lex has a point.
Vin, this is between us. Vin, what got into you egging him on with this cattle drive nonsense?
You asked me if the Circle O needed men. I said yes.
Well, I know, but you should have told... Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be hanging out the family wash in front of you. Boy, that kid just about has me licked.
Maybe he's not such a kid as you think. You're riding him too hard.
The old man rode me plenty hard, never hurt me any.
What about Lex? You think it's hurting him?
Nobody's laughing at you, Lex.
You're lying at him, Roby. And all of you lying. You're laughing at me. You think I'm just a fool kid.
Now, Lex, we don't think anything of the kind. You go on home before your brother sees you like this.
My brother. Well, I want to tell you something. He doesn't own this town. And he doesn't own me either. And when are you going to get that through your fool heads?
Well, Lex, you're not talking to a bunch of schoolboys. You go on home. And if you're not man enough to hold your liquor, lay off it.
Well, I'll show you who's man enough to hold his liquor.
I'm at your winger.
Get the doctor.
Sure.
Jim, you better go tell the sheriff.
It was too late, Cash. He was dead when the doc got here.
Cash, I'm sorry. Where are you going?
To get at him, Roby.
I'd sure hate to be in Roby's shoes when they meet up.
Adam, what's going on?
I'll need some food, Polly. Enough for a couple of days, maybe.
Adam, what's happening? I don't understand.
I'm in trouble, Polly. Bad trouble. That fool kid, Lex Harcourt, he drew on me. I shot him.
You shot Lex Harcourt?
I told you he drew on me.
Adam, he isn't...
He's dead. Look, I can't stop to explain. I gotta get moving. You just gotta believe it wasn't my fault.
Well, if it wasn't your fault, why are you running away?
To keep Cash Harcourt from killing me.
But Cash is the sheriff here. He wouldn't do any...
Wouldn't he? Lex was his brother.
Oh, Adam. Adam, I don't want anything to happen to you.
Maybe it won't if I can make it to Standish Falls and turn myself into the marshal.
It's going to be dark soon. You'll have to take the road, and then what'll happen?
Yes, I know I can't risk it tonight. There's that cabin up on Rocky Creek. I could spend the night there and make it to Standish Falls the next day.
Oh, Adam, please. Please, I don't want you to go.
I haven't got much choice, Polly. Not if I want to stay alive. Listen, Vint Bonner's in town. You know the man they call the six-shooter?
Well, can he help us?
I don't know. I've heard men speak well of him. Find him, Polly. Explain that I'd be willing to give myself up to him.
Adam. Vince, this is Adam Roby's wife, Polly. We're old friends. We went to school together.
How do you do, ma'am?
My husband's in trouble, Mr. Bonner. He asked me to come see you. He needs your help.
This is a matter for the law.
Cash Harcourt's the law in Harness Junction. If he gets his hands on my husband, it won't be to put him in jail. It'll be to kill him.
Cash is a good sheriff. I can't think
He's Lex's brother. He'll have to avenge him.
Look, I admit he was mighty upset. But there'll be no gunplay if I judge him right.
You judge him wrong, Mr. Bonner. Please, all Adam asks is a fair trial. He wants to give himself up. To you.
Why me?
So that you can take him to the district marshal at Standish Falls. That's the only way he can keep from shooting it out with Cash.
A sheriff is sworn to uphold the law. I can't believe he wouldn't handle this right.
I can. Then I know Cash. Bess, I don't want to come between you and your husband. You're not, Polly. Outside of me, Lex was the only other person on this earth that Cash cared about. Maybe in the wrong way, but he cared. Now he'll blame himself for what's happened. He'll want to take it out on somebody. There'll be no stopping to listen to reason.
Bess, don't you understand? Even if I wanted to, I have no right to interfere.
Vint, you're his friend. It's Cash's whole life that'll be ruined if he kills an innocent man.
I'm sorry.
Ben, I didn't want to say this out there. But don't you know why Cash will feel he must get even for Lex?
Do you know, Bess?
Yes. Because way down deep inside, he knows he's made a terrible mistake in the way he raised his brother. He's too proud to admit it. And if he did, he'd only have to blame himself for Lex's death. And no man can do that too easily.
Same trouble as the old man. Too tight a rein. Too much spur.
I tried to tell Cash to let up. He just wouldn't listen. You look tired.
Saw a woman leaving the house just now. Who was it?
Polly Roby.
When I got out to their place, they were both gone. Where's her husband?
She didn't say. She's got some fool notion you'll go gunning for him instead of turning him over to the marshal at Standish Falls.
That's not the only reason she came here. What else, Vint?
She asked me to see that he got there. Safely.
I don't want you interfering.
Now, you calm down a minute and listen to me. Something you're going to have to face. Roby shot Lex in self-defense.
He's a liar.
He's got witnesses.
Witnesses, not one of them telling the truth. People like Lloyd Mason, his son, who never even liked Lex.
Cash, you're twisting this out of shape.
When I want your advice, I'll ask for it. Bess, did she say where Adam Roby was hiding?
No.
You're not against me on this.
Cash, she didn't say.
I'll find him tomorrow.
Tomorrow he'll be on his way to Standish Falls.
Hardly. I got 2 deputies watching the road.
Cash!
you like, I'll go out with you tomorrow.
That won't be necessary.
Why not?
I don't want anyone interfering with the way I carry out the law.
Cash. I'm not sure you intend to carry out the law.
I think maybe it was a good idea about your staying at the hotel. And you clear your things up by tomorrow.
Good morning.
Morning.
Can I fix you some breakfast?
Cash might pick up Roby's trail. It's best I go.
Vin, if anything goes wrong, well, I mean, Cash mustn't ever find out I told you where Adam is hiding.
Don't worry, Bess. Cash won't find out. And nothing's going wrong.
Wasting your time around here, Sheriff. Adam's gone.
Where is he?
I don't know.
I think you do, Mrs. Roby. You'd better tell me.
Why? So you can find him and gun him down?
I'll find him, Mrs. Roby. Don't you fret about that. I'll find him.
Cash, please. It wasn't Adam's fault. Give him a chance.
I'll give him a chance. Same kind of chance he gave Lex.
Cash, you've no right to hunt him down like that. He's a man. He deserves the protection of the law. You're the sheriff here. When are you going to remember that you're the sheriff?
Roby, it's Vint Bonner. Put that gun down.
You alone?
That's right.
You're gonna help me get to Standish Falls?
If that's what you want.
That's what I want.
All right, let's go.
You wouldn't fool me, would you, Bonner?
If you thought I would, you'd use that rifle, wouldn't you?
No, I'm sorry. It's just that I know Cash Harcourt's a friend of yours.
Maybe that's why I'm doing this.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Bonner, for changing your mind about helping Adam.
I haven't done anything yet.
Well, you will. If anybody can get him to Standish Falls, you can.
Let's see. Are you sure Cash Harcourt didn't follow you?
What? I don't think so. Well, I wouldn't have come if I'd known you'd be here.
Let's get going. We'll take the South Fork around Harness Junction.
How do you find us?
You followed your wife.
You know what you're doing, Sheriff?
I told you to stay out of this!
I'm not going to use my gun, Cash. If you're set on shooting somebody, go ahead.
I don't want you. I want Adam Ruby.
I'll help you take him to Standish Falls. I kind of promised Bess I would.
Bess? What you got to do with it?
She's your wife. She's interested in your welfare. She doesn't want to see you make a mistake.
I ain't taking nothing from you, Bonner. Draw. Go on, draw.
You still the sheriff of Harness Junction?
I said draw!
All right, pull that trigger if you want to. But before you do, there's one thing you ought to know. When Lex pulled the gun on Roby, it was you he meant to kill.
Me? You're local, Bonner. I'm his brother.
He hated you. And he had every right to hate you.
I got him covered, Bonner. I'll put the next one right between his eyes.
Roby, put that gun down. Come down here.
What?
You heard me. Holster that gun.
You're under arrest. I'm taking you to Standish Falls. You're welcome to come along, Vint.
One of those nights when the moon was so bright a man had trouble getting to sleep. Besides, I'd had a vague feeling the last hour or so that I wasn't the only one camping in the draw. Scar was acting rather spooky, just to let me know I wasn't overly happy about things. If there was someone there, he was managing to keep out of sight. Well, he could come out or he could stay put. Either way, I'd be ready, and I wasn't going to lose any sleep about it. I could see something now. A shadow. Looking for something, mister? All right, hold it. I'll put a hole in your leg. Get over here by the fire so I can take a look at you. Well, you're just a boy. Aren't you kind of young to be roaming around the country this time of night?
I ain't so young.
14, 15?
I'm only 13.
Oh, you're big for your age. What are you doing here?
Got as much right to be here as anyone else.
You haven't got as much right to be stealing my grub.
I didn't steal any.
That's what you were fixing to do, wasn't it? Of course, if you're hungry, you'd be welcome to some of these beans. That is, if you like beans.
Yes, sir. I sure like beans.
What's your name?
Rink.
You run away from home, Rink?
What makes you say that?
Well, you're 20 miles from the nearest settlement, and you're not out here just taking yourself a walk.
I ain't going back to Crescent Hill.
Crescent Hill, that your home?
Yes, sir. I ain't going back, that's all.
Eat your beans. Your pa give you a whipping?
Pa wouldn't hurt me. He's the finest man I ever lived.
Sure, all paws are.
Just because you gave me some old beans don't mean you can talk about
All right, calm down, calm down. Old enough to drink coffee?
Told you I was 13, didn't I?
That's right, you did. Funny the way I keep forgetting it.
I'm headed for Petersville to find Pa. He said when I was old enough, I could join up with him. Well, I'm old enough now, ain't I?
Well, looks like you are. How come you haven't been with him all along?
He moves around a lot. I've been living with Aunt Aggie and Uncle Ray ever since Ma died. But that ain't the same as being with your own Pa.
No, I guess it isn't.
That's why I'm going to Petersville. Aunt Aggie got a letter from there last Monday. I heard her and Uncle Ray talking. But when they saw me listening, they shut up. They don't tell me nothing about Pa. So I'm gonna find out for myself.
Well, since I'm headed for Petersville, too, I can't see any reason why we shouldn't travel together, can you?
No, sir.
And if we're going to be traveling companions, guess we ought to know one another. I'm Vint Bonner.
Vint Bonner?
That's right, son.
Mr. Bonner, if I'd have known who you was, I didn't mean to talk...
Don't worry about it, son.
Mr. Bonner, I wonder what I mean is... I've heard folks talk about that six-shooter of yours ever since I was a kid. Oh.
Sure, as long as you don't fire it.
Ain't near as heavy as it looks.
You handle a gun real well.
My pa taught me.
Well, we got a long ride ahead of us. If we're going to get any sleep, we better get to bed. You kicking your sleep, boy?
No, sir.
Good. What's the matter, boy?
Mr. Bonner, I ain't never been in a hotel before.
That's always the first time, Ring. Come on. Morning.
Morning.
You got a room?
Yep.
Room for two, still $50.
Yep.
Well, here you are. Which room is it?
Number 5 is empty. Is it 6? No, it's 5.
Much obliged.
Is this a tree or a weed, Mr. Bonner?
Well, that's a tree, a genuine palm tree, clear from California.
California? I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Let's go see our room. What's the matter? Don't you like it?
Like it? It's elegant.
Well, good. Make yourself comfortable. Lie down if you want. I gotta go out for a little while.
Where you go, Mr. Bonner?
I gotta go pay the sheriff a little visit.
Sheriff?
What's the matter?
Nothing. Just don't like sheriffs, that's all.
Well, don't tell me they've been giving you trouble lately.
No. Just don't like him.
Well, I suppose there's good and bad sheriffs like everything else. But if your pa's in Petersville, then Sheriff Jay's most likely to know where to find him. So...
Come on, Jeff, we got everything we want. Let's get out of here.
Help!
Frank, you stay here.
Get back here!
Just take it easy, Brownie. You're going to be all right now. Let's get him inside. Reeves, put him in my office. Now, real easy now, because he's hurt. Charlie, run up and get Doc Perkins down here right away. Tom, get my horse and bring it back over here. I'm going to need 6 of you men for a posse. Get your horses and get back here right away. The rest of you, get off the street. Joe, get over to the bank and see what you can do and stand guard there.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Hello, Vint. Good to see you, as usual.
How's Brownie?
Oh, he's just waiting. He'll be all right. We'll talk later.
All right.
Let's go. Sheriff couldn't help it, boy. He had a job to do.
Killing my pa. You call that doing a job?
Rink, you're gonna have to try to understand. Your pa and those men, they were breaking the law. They were robbing a bank.
Nobody would ever let me see him. Why wouldn't they let me see him, Mr. Bonner? He was my father. Why couldn't I ever see him?
You're a man now, Rink. You're gonna have to learn to act like one.
The sheriff killed my father. He shot him out in the street, and that makes him a murderer.
Now, Rink.
A dirty, rotten murderer! It makes him a murderer! A murderer!
Rink, stop it. I'm sorry I had to hit you, Rink.
Why should you be? You're his friend, ain't you? He killed my father, and you're his friend.
Rink. I'm sorry about that Larkin boy. I was just going out looking for him. Just wish it hadn't happened that way. You couldn't help what happened out there any more than I could. What about the rest of the gang that took the bank? Turned dark on us. We lost their trail. We'll pick it up again at daybreak. You, explain things to the boy? I tried. I'm afraid I didn't do very good. He took off a while back. Well, do you know where he went? No. Vint. That Larkin is a confirmed outlaw. Price on his head, notches in his gun. I couldn't help what happened out there. I got a job to do. I know you got a job to do, Sheriff. How do I explain that to his son?
I don't know. Maybe when he gets a little older, he'll understand.
Trouble is, things don't wait for a person to reach the understanding age. They happen. Whether he's ready or not. I had a hunch where I'd find him. It was a hill out at the south end of town where they buried men like Jeff Larkin. Men who lived and died by the gun. You want some supper, Rink?
I'm not hungry.
How about coming back to town with me?
I'm staying here.
You can't stay here all night.
I'll stay here as long as I want. You're on that sheriff's side. You believe he was right to kill my pa.
People don't have sides, Rink. Not in a thing like this.
I do. I'm on my pa's side. I don't care what they say. He was a good man.
Maybe with you, your father was different than with other folks. Maybe with you, he was good.
I'm gonna make it up to him. I'm gonna get even with that sheriff.
Here, wait.
Will you let me alone? Just stop John and let me be.
All right. If you change your mind, I'll be at the hotel. I didn't get much sleep. I kept expecting Rink to come back. Thought he'd change his mind after a couple of hours. But here it was daylight, and there hadn't been a sign of him. Rink!
Hey, Ben. Sheriff Jay.
Oh. Come on in, Sheriff.
Boy's not with you.
No. I haven't seen him since last night out by his father's grave. Why? Something the matter?
Thompson's store was broken into last night. No money stolen. But there's a revolver and some bullets missing.
Oh.
I found some boot prints outside the back window. Not quite man-sized boot prints. They left a real clear trail. Too clear. Almost as if who left it intentional.
You think it was a Larkin kid, huh?
Yep.
Could be.
Tell me something. What's he doing stealing a gun and leaving the trail like that?
Maybe like you said, Sheriff. Maybe it was intentional.
That'd be foolish. Unless... Don't tell me he's got some fool notion about revenging his father.
He did say something about getting even.
Then he wants me to follow it. That way you'll get a chance to kill me, is that it?
That could be about it.
Jeff Larkin ain't the first man I killed, and he's deserved it more than most. But killing him didn't solve nothing. It just turned his boy bad.
What are you going to do about it?
What do you expect me to do? Go out there in the hills and shoot it out with a 13-year-old boy? I got one at home the same age. And if that Larkin kid was standing right there in the door covering me, I couldn't shoot him. I just wouldn't be able to shoot.
You'd shoot. Nothing else you could do. Which way'd the trail lead?
Black Canyon.
This the place they call Black Canyon?
Yeah. Don't know why either. The rocks here are the same color as anywhere else.
Names are funny things. I came through a town in Arizona once called Big Lake. Wasn't any water for miles around, not even a creek. It seems like the first settler came through there said what they needed was a big lake. So wouldn't you know, that's what they named it? Let's move on a little further.
Don't move or you're dead. All right, now reach slowly for your guns and throw them on the ground. You first. Now you. That's right. Now take it real easy, Sheriff, and climb out of your saddle. Real easy, Sheriff, so I don't have to use this thing. That's the way to do it, Sheriff. Now you do the same. That's good. Now both of you take a couple of steps away from your horses. Who are you, mister?
Name's Bonner. Vint Bonner.
Vint Bonner. Yeah, you're supposed to be pretty handy with a six-shooter. Too bad you won't get a chance to prove it. Thought we winged one of you back at the bank. That's right, you did. What happened to him? He's dead, just like Larkin.
How did you know Larkin was dead?
I don't know. I shot him.
You shot him? Have you seen anything of his kid?
Whose kid?
Larkin's kid, boy about 13.
I didn't know he had a kid.
We think he's out gunning for the sheriff here.
Sure takes after his old man, don't he?
How do you mean?
That was Larkin's trouble. That's why I got rid of him. You like the gun too much.
I know what you mean. Not much you can do with them after they get that way, is there?
Ah, what's the difference? He'd have been killed sooner or later anyway. All I did was help it along.
You did that all right.
Me, I'm different. I don't enjoy killing the way Larkin did.
We sure are glad to hear that.
Of course, there are times when a man don't have much choice. Like now, maybe. My friend and I need fresh horses to break out of these hills.
Traeger? I got a posse out scouring these hills.
Only one way I know of getting horses and making sure you boys stay put. So, I guess I don't have much choice. No more than I had with Larkin.
Hello, Mr. Bonner. Sheriff.
Hello, Rink.
You been up there behind that rock all this time?
You seen me there, didn't you, Mr. Bonner? You knew I was behind that rock. That's why you kept him talking about my pa.
I saw something. I was sure hoping to be you, Rink.
I'm glad I heard what he said, Mr. Bonner. Otherwise, I would have never known the truth about my pa.
I'll take this.
I'm awful sorry, Mr. Bonner.
I'm sorry, Sheriff.
That's all right, son. We're mighty beholden to you. Get down over there where I can keep an eye out.
You handle the gun real good?
My pa taught me. I still can't believe he was that kind of man. He was always so good to me.
Well, maybe someday we'll understand that better. You ready to go home?
You two go on. I'll take care of things here.
Well, there's still a little matter of the hardware store, isn't there, Sheriff?
Well, I can take care of that. Place the boy in your custody.
Rink, about this custody business, it's not permanent, you know. Only till I get you back to your Aunt Aggie's. Maybe you'll get along better with her from now on, huh?
Yes, sir.
Ought to start cooling off about 4 o'clock. We only got about 15 more miles to go to Lead Creek. Yeah, I know. Why go to Lead Creek? Well, there's a job on the railroad there. Laying track to Salt Lake. In the boiling sun. Sure, if either one of us had any sense, we'd be lying up under a porch someplace cooling off. But then we get hungry. So I better find work before I get hungry. I bet there's some hospitable people up there who are just dying to give us both a cold drink of water. Anybody home? Anybody home?
What do you want?
I didn't mean to frighten you, ma'am.
You didn't. State your business, mister.
My name's Bonner, ma'am.
Well?
Well, I saw your place from up the trail, and I thought...
I got no handouts.
See what you mean. All we wanted was a drink of water.
Well, all right. Over there.
It's good water. You and your husband run this place alone?
I've got no husband. Trouble enough as it is.
Kind of lonely country for a single woman.
That's right, mister. That's what I like about it. You had enough water?
I'd like to fill my canteen. I'm heading toward Lead Creek. I suppose you know the place.
I grew up there.
Nice town? Nice people?
They're the scum of the earth.
Scar, that lady back there wouldn't be so bad looking if she weren't so all-fired determined to be. Living out by herself in the middle of nowhere, suspicious and unfriendly. It's a hard thing not to like anybody, unless you first convince yourself that nobody at all likes you. And that isn't an easy job.
Help!
little accident. Water?
Sure.
Horse threw me a couple hours ago. I must have landed on my gun. It went off. You're a stranger, aren't you?
Just passing through. You need a good tight bandage on that.
Did you see my pinto? Half moon on his flank?
Put your weight on. My horse will get us to Lead Creek.
Lead Creek? I'll never make it.
It's the closest town.
Cabin. I passed a cabin a mile west. I could ride a mile.
Cabin?
Hey, miss!
Where did you come from?
Sorry to trouble you.
You get thirsty again or something?
I ran into a fellow down the road. Been shot up pretty bad.
Shot?
Yeah. It says his horse threw him and his gun went off accidental. Seeing as your place was nearest.
Where is he?
I left him on your front porch.
I'll get some water.
You know him?
No. Why should I know him? I don't know anybody.
I was just thinking, since he was in the neighborhood.
I don't know everybody that passes by here. I don't know you, mister.
Doing a nice job. Look, when I get to Lead Creek, I'll send out a doctor.
There isn't any doctor at Lead Creek.
Well, when I get someplace, there is one.
There isn't a doctor within 100 miles of here. I'll look after him myself.
That's very considerate, seeing as he's a stranger.
Help me get to the house, will you? Mr. Bonner, you won't tell folks in town he's here, will you?
Ma'am?
Well, like you said, he's a stranger. He doesn't concern them. And I don't want folks laughing at me in Lead Creek.
Laughing at you?
Oh, they'll say Jenny Garver's got herself a man. And if he wasn't unconscious, she never could have done it. Please don't tell them.
Well, I'll not likely be meeting anybody who would ask about him. Good day, ma'am.
What are you looking at?
Those two horses belong to you?
Yes. Yes, they do. Why?
I'm just asking. That pinto looks like a real good animal. What do you call him?
His name's Moon. There's a marking on his flank. It's like a half moon.
I see. Well, I hope your patient doesn't give you too much trouble. I know just how you feel, son. Back and forth, back and forth. It's kind of tiresome, doesn't it? Well, it's only 6 miles to Lead Creek, so it can't be too long now.
You haven't got a chance, Landy. We're all around you. Ned, come on out of there with your hands up.
I'll come out. But I'm not Landy. Whoever he is.
Well, I'll be dad blamed. Looks like we made a little mistake, boys.
I'm glad it was only a little one.
We mistaken you for somebody else. What are you doing out here?
I'm on my way to Lead Creek. Thought I'd get a job on the new railroad there.
I'm Jim York, sheriff around here.
Glad to know you. My name's Bonner, Vint Bonner.
Boys, this is Vint Bonner. This is Sam Norval. Howdy. Tom Jackson. Bonner. Harry Potter. Hey, you could maybe help us out, Vint.
What can I do?
We're looking for Ned Landy. That's who we thought you was at first.
What did he do?
Hold-ups, couple of shooting sprees, just one thing after another for the last few months. Last night, he broke into Harry Potter's store here and killed his brother.
Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry.
I took a posse out after him before, but he always manages to get lost in these hills. We picked up his trail this morning. Even seen him for a minute or two over in the backside of Devil's Canyon. Got off a shot. I thought for sure I'd hit him, but I guess not. Anyway, he's give us the slip again.
What does he look like?
About 30 years old. Dark, wiry, black hair. Rides a Pinto.
Pinto?
Yeah, that... You seen him?
Yes, I think I have.
Where was that?
I left him in the cabin a little ways back. He had a bullet in him. Then he shot himself accidentally when he fell off a horse.
It's him. Only cabin back that way is Jenny Garver's.
That's the name she gave me.
Mm-hmm. All right, boys, let's ride out to Jenny Garver's. Will you ride out with us, Vint?
You won't need my help. He was hurt pretty bad. I doubt if he'll last long enough to get him back to town.
Oh, we'll get him back all right. Old Doc here will fix him up.
Doctor? I understood there weren't any doctors in these parts.
Well, Sam Norval here's a doc. At least that's what he's been telling folk for the last 20 years.
Sheriff, wait. I changed my mind. I think I'll go along with you.
Well, fine, son. Come right along. Landy's hit as bad as you say he is. There ain't no need of whipping the horses. Let's take a little rest, boys. What's so funny, Tom?
Oh, I was just thinking about Jenny Garver.
What about Jenny?
Well, she finally got herself a man.
Yeah, but she ain't gonna have him long.
Oh, Ned Landy must have been hit pretty bad not to stampede the first time he got a look at her.
I'll tell you one thing, it'd take more than a bullet to keep me there.
Something wrong with Miss Garver?
Oh, you seen her, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw her.
Well, ain't she just about the homeliest critter you ever did see?
I'll admit she's no raving beauty. Lots of plain women get along just as good as the pretty ones. Sometimes how a woman looks depends on who's looking at her.
Well, you just wait till you get a good look at this one, friend.
Oh, I never thought Jenny's what you'd call downright ugly. I think it's just she was so darn big and awkward. She always was a fine girl, though.
Yeah, I suppose she was. It's a funny thing about Jenny. Even when she was a little girl back in Lead Creek, she was always taller than the boys her age. And stronger, too.
Except at running. The boys could always run faster. Whenever they seen her coming.
It was a strange thing about her folks. Remember, Jim? They never would admit that there was any difference between her and the other girls. They used to dress her up in fancy clothes, frills and laces. Made her look twice as peculiar as she did already.
Yeah, I remember.
Her father used to take her to parties and square dances. He was always the only one that would ever dance with her.
It was real pitiful. You know, I don't think there was a boy in town ever courted Jenny. Not one.
Oh, now you can't say that, Sheriff. You're forgetting Will Franklin that time.
You know, I clean forgot about that.
I wouldn't know the joke.
It ain't much of a joke. Oh, that Will Franklin's quite a cut-up. One time I...
Let me tell it. You know, there's Will Franklin. He made a bet one time with some of the boys. He bet us that he could take her out just one time and talk to her like he was wanting to get married, and she'd jump at it just like that.
That's the kind Will Franklin was.
It was the funniest thing I ever did see. There they was, sitting in the wagon, and him a-talking so solemn you'd have thought he was... you'd have thought he was courting Lily Langtree. Well, he no more than popped the question when she says, "Oh, yes, Will." Well, what she didn't know was we was all hiding in the back of the wagon underneath a bed of straw. Well, when she said, "Oh, yes, Will," like that, well, we all busted up a laughing and a hollering, and we was carrying on like that.
Seems to me that was right after her folks died, wasn't it? Yeah, it was about 5 years ago. She couldn't have been more than 20 at the time. It was right after that. She packed up everything and moved out here all by herself.
I tell you, it was a dilly when we all popped up behind her in that wagon. I wish you could have been there and seen her face. Oh, like...
Just as glad I wasn't.
All right, let's move on. We've got other pleasant little chores to do.
Oh, okay.
Better leave the horses here.
Sheriff, Landy's not liable to give you any trouble.
You never can tell. You may be feeling a little better by now.
Not that much better.
He's seen us. Guess he wasn't as sick as you thought. Hold your fire, Tom. Never be able to hit him from here.
You suppose the Garber girl is all right?
Probably just scared half to death. Well, looks like we're going to have to rush him.
That's going to take some doing.
Here's what we'll do. You and Harry see if you can get to that fence down yonder. When you hear me fire twice, that'll be the signal for us to close in.
Hold it. Look, if we go plowing up the front of that cabin, it's liable to get real messy around here.
Well, you've been shot at before, ain't you?
Not by preference. I don't exactly make it a hobby.
What do you got in mind?
There's a back door to that house. A couple of trees for cover, too.
Landy'll be watching that back door. He's no fool.
We could give it a try.
All right. I'll go with you.
No, I'd rather go alone. It's easier to hide one than two. Besides, I'm responsible for you coming up here without being more careful. You just give me some fire to cover my approach to that back door.
All right, Vint.
I'm not back in 5 minutes. Do it your way.
5 minutes. That's all the longer we'll wait. Protect yourselves, boys.
Jenny.
You told them. You brought them here.
I had to, Jenny.
You had to. I could have taken him away somewhere when he was just a little stronger. That's all I want, isn't it? To get rid of him. You could have kept on riding. Never given us another thought. Why couldn't you let us alone?
Jenny, Ned killed a man in town last night.
I don't care. I don't care what he's done. I'm going to stay with him as long as he needs me.
You've kept him here all these months, haven't you? His pony knew right where to come. They're starting to close in on you, Jenny.
You're not going to take him away from me. He's my man, Mr. Bonner, and he needs me and he loves me. No one's ever needed me before. No one's ever loved me before. He doesn't think I'm ugly. He doesn't laugh at me. Do you know, even my mother told me I was going to be an old maid. Well, I won't. We're going to get out of this. And he's going to take me away from here and we're going to get married.
Jenny, listen to me.
I won't listen. I won't let you or anyone else take him away from me. Not if I have to kill you.
Ned can't use your help anymore, Jenny. He's dead. He was dead when I came in the house.
Oh, you're lying to me.
He's dead.
Well, we're sure much obliged to you, Mr. Bonner.
Don't thank me. It was your bullet that did it this afternoon.
Well, I'll be son of a gun. I knew I'd hit him. Remember, Tom? I told you.
Yeah, you sure did. Mr. Bonner here said he was hit bad. What I can't figure is how he was able to hold us off in there.
Oh, them Landys always was pretty tough people, and I guess Ned just took after the rest of them. He just wouldn't give up till the strain of shooting at us probably done him in. That about the way you figured, Mr. Bonner?
That sounds about right.
Well,
I wouldn't go in for a while. Jenny Garver's kind of shaken up by all this.
Oh, yeah, I plumb forgot. She was right there in the middle of everything.
Give her a little time to kind of get herself together.
Yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting how women folk are. A little bit of gunfire in the neighborhood, and they just go all to pieces. That just goes to show you. You get right down to it, they're all pretty much alike.
Yeah. Guess you're right, Sheriff.
Are you all right, Jenny?
I will be, Mr. York.
Sure you will, Jenny. All that shooting's bound to get on a woman's nerves.
This ain't no place for a young girl, Jenny, way out here.
That's right. You ought to move back where you'll have some neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. York. But I won't be going alone. Will you help me, Mr. Bonner?
I'll be glad to, Jenny.
I'm taking him back to town with me.